Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are into the third game of our grand finals, and we are directly into Champion Select. LDLC again on blue side. It has been working for them, Foxy. They ain't gonna change it. And k1ck needs to find a way back into this series because we are staring down a potential championship point for LDLC.
Yeah, and I think going into this draft, I'm really curious to see whether k1ck even changes too much up, because let's be honest, I mean, the Death said it as well, this should be a 1-1 series. I don't even know how k1ck lost that last game, so whether they just want to roll back the strategy, go with the same stuff, and just, you know, not throw it away right at the not trip up at the finish line, then they'll probably be happy with that. And again, from LDLC's side, I just want to see a little bit more priority on pinching Ibo with his champion pool, because that works so well for them in the first game.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Aatrox probably needs to go in the bin. The Corki is also going in the bin here. The first change up from LDLC, as they will take that champion off the board. Now, I wonder if k1ck don't ban the Zoe here. Maybe that's what they're thinking about. Don't ban the Zoe and say, well, if you want to first pick Zoe, then we get LeBlanc. You know, maybe that's what they're thinking about in this scenario.
Yeah, there are actually a fair amount of options still available in that mid lane, because you've got the Azir, which I know Matislaw absolutely loves as well. So we are going to start targeting some like very specific player-centric bans here. Vétheo loves the Zoe, as does Matislaw. You know, Matislaw is basically a Zoe one trick. He just doesn't get to play Zoe that much. Is the most banned champion against k1ck. But either way, he will know how to play up against a Zoe. And something that we haven't seen so far in this series is Puki getting one of his main 2 AD carries, that being Varus or Aphelios. And now in game 3, he gets one of them.
Yeah, and they don't need to pick the LeBlanc here either, because they can take it on the final rotation, so they can just secure something like the Trundle if they want it. It looks like it's going to be the Lee Sin, so Shlatan actually opting for the Lee Sin over the Trundle, and I mean, 10 Gryffindor points to anyone who guesses what TynX is going to pick.
Gryffindor points? You are old, mate. That's not... Alright, so I'm a bit...
10 points to Gryffindor?
Yeah, 10 points to Gryffindor, right, we'll do that. I would be shocked if it's anything... Anything but the Rek'Sai. I hadn't finished my sentence. Yeah, so we're not actually going for the Trundle. We are going full into that early game. Both teams have recognized that getting that early dragon control, getting that the soul as early as you can as well, has been very important, pretty defining for the first 2 games in this series. And Rek'Sai gives you that really OP early.
People often talk about the Rek'Sai Lee Sin matchup being kind of 50-50 as well. Like, there's no like major advantage. It comes down to skill and how you play, I guess. So TynX is piloting this for the second time in the European Masters ever. He has got a 1 win under his belt on it already, but this is his second game, and he's bringing it out in the championship point final. They're going to ban the Bard away from YellOwStaR. That was a big impact. That magical journey into Baron, followed by the way they navigated away from the package and they navigated away from the teleport, that was the difference maker in that last game. You know, I think YellOwStaR was part of the reason, or one of the major reasons, that they won. They are following your advice though. It is going to be the Aatrox ban for LDLC, and we'll see what they follow up with. I imagine it could be something like a Maokai. They did target it last time.
Yeah, and Ornn's taken away, so you know, if you don't want to play versus one of the premier tanks, then you know Maokai would be left here, like it being taken away. But that does, alright, so that opens quite a few top laners here. So you've got the Renekton that's been banned away previously, you've got the Maokai, as you were saying as well. There's quite a few things here, and we'll see what k1ck decides to do. I think this is a great opportunity to actually to get that top counter pick and really get a solid matchup for Ibo, who's been so good as a top laner, but who needs counter pick when you can just slap down the Maokai?
Slap down the Maokai is what is happening here. The first time we're going to see it in this series. I think it's been banned previously. It does give Ibo the ability to be kind of like able to direct fights, you know, to find that twisted advance. He can be the one making plays. It's going to be a Cho'Gath locked in. I can only assume for Bando. I don't think there's going to be any crazy switcheroo shenanigans Cho'Gath support. And now YellOwStaR, it's up to him to choose which support he would like. The Braum is on the table. That's a good pickup, you know, into k1ck, into LDLC from k1ck, because it would be good, you know, versus the Zoe. It would be good versus the Misfortune.
Would be a good denial here, yeah, if they do pick up the Braum. And it seems like you're going to be absolutely on the money there, Iskander, locking in that Braum. As you said, Braum very good versus Misfortune, very good versus Zoe. Don't want to play against it, so instead you take it for yourself. Very swiftly replied here with a Morgana. I quite like this pick. This really does limit what Braum can do, but also champions like the Zoe with the Sleepy Bubble Trouble, you can put on that Black Shield, and even things like Cho'Gath, you know, the silence or the knock-up. These are all things you can deny, and when you've got on your team a very clear, yo, Puki style, let's make this happen, you're playing Aphelios, this is your champion, this is your time to shine in the elimination match, to have a champion like Morgana just enables him even more.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, these are the compositions that are being locked in for a potential championship point for LDLC and the LFL. They are one win away from securing the region's second European Masters title. And for LDLC, this is their 4th time at the European Masters. This is the furthest they've ever made it in the competition. And they have constantly been hyped up. They've constantly been talked about, Foxdrop. This may be the time where they actually convert. They finally find that win that they have been seeking for so many times, so many tournaments. It's... oh, my goodness, I'm really looking forward to this. Obviously, K1ck have gone with a bit more of a tried and tested draft with Aphelios, with Aphelios or Puki style. We've got a bit of time. Let's talk about these drafts and talk about your expectations, Foxy.
I think that K1ck are really just playing around Puki style. Like you've got the Maokai in the top lane. Like that's the front line you need to create space for your Aphelios. You've got the Morgana to protect as well. You've got Lee Sin who can play protective, but also give you that kind of like early game spice as well. And then Matislaw just playing a really good kind of like mid matchup into that Zoe, and a champion he's very familiar with playing. I think for LDLC, there's a bit of pressure here on TynX. So we're going to see right from the get-go there's pressure on TynX, as he's going to have to flash away. And that is pretty big. A flash for Rek'Sai is pretty much a guaranteed kill with that flash on Burrow. So that really does limit what he can do in this early game.
Yeah, maybe going to limit his ganking potential, hugely so. Good little pickup. You take those small victories if you're LDLC in this scenario, and if you're K1ck in this scenario, and actually limiting what TynX can do early by removing that flash is actually, like you said, very impactful for the next 5 minutes of this game.
Something you said, something I want to touch on in the draft is like Rek'Sai into Lee Sin. I mentioned it was 50-50, and I actually fully agree with it depending on your perspective, because like early game is all Rek'Sai. Like Rek'Sai has way better early game ganks. It's so much stronger in the 1v1 compared to Lee Sin as well. Can even knock up or interrupt Lee Sin's Q, so it's actually like really hard for Lee Sin to fight Rek'Sai. It's like one of those unique 1v1 mechanics. But as you get out of the lane phase, I do think that it heavily shifts towards Lee Sin, because Lee Sin can provide more utility, more setup for your team, more protection as well, whereas Rek'Sai really just turns into like a knockup bot, especially if she hasn't had too much to do in the early game.
Yeah, I guess she's one of those champions that needs to snowball in terms of damage output. Puki style takes a couple of double ups here very early on. They will not find that level 2 as LDLC trade back pretty nicely, but already pretty explosive start at the start of this bot lane. Both AD carries taking a beating in some interesting trades.
Definitely getting a feel for themselves here in this early game for bot lane. Hades' last game was a little bit disappointing for me, I would say. Like, considering the reputation this guy's built for himself as being pretty much unkillable, he died at least twice in that last game, which sounds like a very nitpicky thing to criticize someone for. Oh my goodness, you filthy inter, you died twice. But for Hades standards, that is, you know, generally he did get caught out a little bit by the Nautilus. Nothing on the... Yeah, there's not as much engaged there on the side of K1ck this time, unless you count that, you know, if you get in range of the Maokai. But, you know, just something that LDLC are going to have to shore up a little bit, as it was a weakness for them last game.
Shlatan, I think, is Shlatan getting a double River Scuttler here?
He's trying.
He's trying
in the process of.
He's in the process of. He will smite away. TynX actually has a small level advantage, but the double River Scuttler start here for Shlatan. And TynX without flash, I don't think feels comfortable going into that matchup right now, or even into a skirmish scenario, so he's just going to back away and just continue his pathing kingdom, going around clearing all his camps. Yeah,
he full cleared at the start, is about to full clear again. Doesn't even know that this bot crab is dead as well. It does kind of suck to get double crabbed by a Lee Sin if you're playing Rek'Sai. But Wait, this crab is alive. It was a ward. It's a ward in that bot river. It's not actually. I got baited too, to be fair. I got baited too. So yeah, they're gonna try and contest this bot crab.
It was placed in almost the exact scenario. Now, TynX actually can't find the flash on Burrow here, and immediately Shlatan is ready to dive onto YellOwStaR, who's taken very low. The heal will come out, the flash is there, and TynX is body blocking, but oh, it almost didn't find the body block. Yeah, and you could see how reluctant he was to commit to the fight, Foxy, as well.
Yeah, because, Rek'Sai is very good at going in, but that's all she can do. She goes in. Fortunately for her, she is exceptional at doing that, and she can just, go crazy, and it's no problemo. But when you don't have that flash, it does mean that if you commit to something, and it goes wrong, then you are in a lot of trouble. So LDLC are just going to play this one a little bit chill, not taking too many risks. However, I will say this does benefit K1ck in the long run, because I do think there's a lot more pressure on TynX to make something happen early compared to the rest of K1ck.
So again, it's been a fairly quiet early game. I think you'd expect it with the stakes that we are currently experiencing. This is a championship point for LDLC, and if K1ck make one wrong move or they make an error, they're out of the competition. They lose the finals. So both teams taking it pretty safe so far. No crazy maneuvers, no crazy counter jungling, no maybe over excessively aggressive plays in any of the lanes. So I can kind of get behind the more tempered playstyle that we're seeing from both of these teams in the start of this game. But I do want to take this moment to kind of reflect on the LFL and the Ultra League's performances as a whole this European Masters, because, okay, whoever wins this, will have the right to claim themselves as the best European regional league, the best European region in terms of talent and teams. But I think both the LFL and the Ultra League have shown above and beyond. They are the two best regions, not even just from the teams that they posted in the final, but the fact that both of the teams that they put into this competition made it to the top 4, I think, or at least the top 8. So we saw like an incredible performance from these regions as a whole, Foxy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And France's region was, I feel like they've kind of been on the outside looking in a little bit compared to Germany and Spain. Obviously, they did win with Misfits Premier last year, but they've never really kind of been fully dominant across the board. But this time around, LDLC being that number 2 seed, looking to change that, and this right now being up 2 wins in your best of 5. If you win this one, you're taking it all home. Much like Misfits style, it could be a 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, that was a very dominant final from Misfits back in spring 2019 when they won that. It was very, very, very quick. They were leaps and bounds ahead of the competition in that particular tournament. But even though the scoreline is 2-0, I really don't think the games have been one-sided. I mean, we've been in sort of 35, 36-minute games both times. And honestly, I think that we've been very evenly matched. Both of these teams could have taken either of those games. A lot of it came down to some individual moments. As now Puki style gets focused down. There is the flash already. TynX is here, as is Vétheo, as YellOwStaR is taken very low. That's all that Shlatan needed to do. Just prevent this gank from happening. Just be a little bit safe, as the Drowsy does land, but I don't think Vétheo is going to be able to convert him. Matislaw making his way down, and Shlatan uses that opportunity to bounce back in. Vétheo taken low. He has the flash available. One flash. Good knock-up onto Matislaw. The chains will land, but TynX should be able to escape, and goodness gracious, at the end of that, Foxy, no one dies.
That was so close to being a terrible play for LDLC though. The fact that Vétheo was able to pick up the flash that Puki previously burned meant that he wasn't getting caught out there, and oh my goodness, TynX right at the end, just avoiding that chain by the skin of his teeth before he was able to reach the tunnel there. Because if he doesn't get to that tunnel, he gets chained. Morgana then accuse him as well. There's the ignites flowing down. He's dead. He's done so. He's in trouble. So that was very, very close. But both teams just going to be licking their wounds. And crucially, a lot of summoners were burnt in that play. And I've got my eyes on Puki style and that bot lane as a potential target for LDLC moving forward here.
Well, let's take a look at the overall state of the game right now. Vétheo is going to get a bit of damage onto... Oh, no, misses it onto Matislaw, and actually has forced to burn the exhaust, as YellOwStaR is going to save his mid laner from potential disaster. The gold right now, slightly in favour of K1ck. It has been, again, another good early game from K1ck. You really haven't seen much of TynX on the map. He's been kind of held under by Matislaw, and by Shlatan. They've kind of kept the lid on the TynX machine, if you will. And again, he's been struggling to kind of get into those lanes and actually do anything. And as you mentioned, you know, what we get towards that post-level 6 area, we get out of the laning phase, we get to these skirmishes. That's where Lee Sin starts to overtake in terms of that utility and usefulness for the team. Is this bad news for TynX? Can he still bring this back and find some kind of edge in the early game?
Well, I definitely wouldn't want to be TynX right now. That's for sure. Like the plus side is like you've got Puki style and you've got LeBlanc. Like if you flash and burrow those two, like your team can follow up and you can combo them down. Like you definitely have ways to be useful as Rek'Sai, even outside of the early game, even outside of having that like really snowballed early. The thing is though, especially with this Morgana last pick for K1ck, that really makes things difficult. Like you're gonna have to get through that somehow, and it's not like Rek'Sai's engages aren't telegraphed. They're hella telegraphed. You know they're coming a mile away, right? So it's gonna be easy to block that with that black shield. So yeah, I'm not particularly happy if I'm TynX, but definitely, especially coming up with Vétheo, might have some things to do.
Just taking a look at the CS values right now as well, Fox. Somehow Puki Styles opened up a 20 CS advantage in this bot lane. It might not scream like a lot, it might not scream like a huge advantage, but that just feels pretty significant to me as YellOwStaR now finds the opportunity to go in onto Puki Style, who does not have that flash available. There is the black shield, and that will be enough to ward TynX away. They will not find that stun, they will not find that unburrow, and Puki Style will escape with his life on an attempted gank once more.
Exactly, like that, precisely right there is just the difficulty of playing versus Morgana. Completely shuts you down. You're seeing the gold titles across the board here are honestly really equal. It's just like that 300-ish difference in that bot lane, but apart from that, very equal stuff across the board. Yeah, I just want to touch on again that things like when you've got Braum plus Rek'Sai and you're looking to set up a gank, that has to be the best like early game gank setup. Like it really does. Like you've got that slow coming from the Winter's Bite, you've got that stun with the concussive blows, and then you have knock up, especially flash knock up. It just still doesn't work, and now look who's in trouble.
He's just dead, mate. First blood over to Puki Style. He's been having a tough time in the lane, and Hades gets punished, backing on a ward. Disrespect back as Raxxo converts with Puki Style.
The immortal Hades not looking so immortal right here. 100% of the entire game's deaths. Again, I know it sounds like I'm kind of memeing, but genuinely, he had like 6 or 7 games in a row where he did not die. And his support was playing Bard, like perma roaming. It's not like he's being babysat. You know, he played Yasuo and only died once. Who does that, by the way? Like that's got to be some kind of world record. But you know, the fact that I do think his positioning has been a little bit kind of shaky in these last 2 games.
Alright, it's Dragon now, and you can see Vétheo just gets eyes on Shlatan. TynX might be able to dive over here. Matislaw is coming, Puki Style there also. And TynX maybe going to go for it. He will not find it, it will get secured. And now TynX on the other side of the wall, maybe forced to flash out of this. Lock up onto Matislaw, comboed the CC. That was sexy from LDLC, and Vétheo pick up the kill.
Very smart there, very smart from TynX, using Matislaw not only as the escape, flashing away from the dragon pit, but also to secure that kill with his team. It's going to be their first kill of this game, and you know TynX finally able to get something done on that Rek'Sai. He also has his Rift Herald, which I would imagine he slaps down soon here. Gonna go for that first blood tower. You know, just like that, sure, you lose the dragon, but this is a pretty good makeup prize instead.
Yeah, and actually takes them to the gold lead for the first time in this game. LDLC edge it out with about 100 gold in their back pockets. They're even going to get the second charge, which is always really nice, using the Shelly here. So that's pretty good. We'll take that if we're LDLC, given that our early game has been pretty under wraps so far. And we're heading towards that 15-minute mark, and both teams pretty even. The 15-minute rule is broken now, Foxy, because K1ck had that, but maybe I should discount it because I really feel like K1ck should have won the game.
Definitely, but
I feel like that was
shoulda, woulda, coulda, mate.
I know. I wanted my 15-minute roll to be correct, but it wasn't. I mean, I think that was a really nice outplay towards the end of last game for LDLC.
Yep. But either way, the trends are showing, you know, teams in this series that are able to get that early advantage are able to really push it. Both these teams are good at doing that. You know, I'm just looking, if we're talking about these like advantages, Vétheo did get that kill, which gives him a slight lead over Matislaw, because Matislaw now, he's only got the Lost Chapter and a Dusty Old Book, whereas Vétheo has the Ludens complete, and honestly, those are pretty big item differences. It might only be like a few hundred gold, like 1,000 gold or so, but it's big when you have the Ludens complete, and Zoe, very scary coming up against squishy opponents.
I kind of want to turn our eyes away from those stories of Matislaw and and Shlatan, and although I say that, Vétheo may be looking to punish Shlatan here for a bit of a cheeky little invade onto the Raptors. He'll escape and Matislaw will be there. Oh, so close. I mean, he's probably saying not even close, baby, but that was very close for Vétheo.
Oh yeah, that's the power of Zoe right there. Like, you get that one item, people haven't started building like health or any kind of resistances, and yeah, the first thing Shlatan does when he recalls, buys merch treads. It's like, nah, I've had enough of that. That was far too close. He learned his lesson. He's going to get a little bit more magic resist there, and also anti-CC, which will be very helpful versus Zoe's sleep, the Braum stuns, and also, of course, that Cho'Gath Yenia U2.
YellOwStaR's going to see Raxxo here. He'll be able to dodge away from the binding. And just as Puki picks up the turret, that gives me a nice time to reflect back on Puki, who has now got a pretty sweeping CS advantage over his opponent. He's in such a strong position overall. And when the poster boy for K1ck needed to step up, he's having a great laning phase. Now I say that, Bando actually takes the first turret versus Ibo here. TynX is ready to capitalize. That is the righteous glory coming through, and they will have that true damage coming out from Bando if he can find it. The knockup is there, the flash available for Ibo if he needs it, but maybe holding on to it for just a little bit too long. In the meantime though, he just gets taken so low, Bando overcommits, and suddenly LDLC are there and getting wiped by K1ck as Puki finds a double, just as I mentioned the poster boy, just as I mentioned him having the game that he needs to save K1ck from potential championship point. He finds a triple in an excellent skirmish for K1ck.
3 kills over to your Aphelios when your team comp is built around protecting this guy, enabling him and having him carry you. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for K1ck here. If they want to take this game to game 4 and actually not get fully swept in this one and even bring down the dreams of the reverse sweep, this is the perfect way to start and to make it happen. Holy moly, that was just a bit too much from LDLC there, but K1ck will gladly take that one.
Well, let's have a look at it again, because Bando just gets this turret for free, right? Ivo couldn't really do anything about it, but then they overcommit to the fight, Foxy.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're playing versus Maokai, especially the way this Maokai has itemized, he's got a lot of health. So he's really good versus true damage, which means that when TynX gets his E off, and when Bando gets his ult off, that's one lot of true damage right there. Bando's going to nom him as well soon too. Just because there's a little bit more health in his itemization, he doesn't go down to all that true damage when you get the heal from his passive, plus the heal from Puki style. He does it all, man. He attack and he protect right there. He's going to get 2 kills. This will be his 3rd one as well. Yeah, like I say, that sets up K1ck perfectly for the rest of this game.
Yeah, they want to find their way back into this series, Foxy. They want to bring Poland and put them on the map of this finals. So far, they are yet to make an etching. It's all LDLC. And they're in the driving seat right now. They've got a pretty solid gold lead to work with. Bando is a beefy boy. I mean, I don't want to discount Bando right now. He's actually pretty strong in that top lane on this Cho'Gath. But, I mean, I say that. Puki is just in such a strong spot. Matislaw picks up the kill. Great binding from Raxxo, and this sets up the 3rd dragon nicely for K1ck.
Yeah, 3rd dragon, it's another Ocean Soul. 3rd game in a row. Someone's rigged this, man. That's a powerful, powerful dragon to have. And yeah, so Soul Point now again. And this 3rd dragon has always been huge in both these games. It puts a lot of pressure on the team who doesn't have the dragon to then force the contest. And when you're put under pressure and forced to do something, you often trip up and make mistakes. And we'll see whether that happens in like 5 minutes time when that 4th dragon will be spawned.
K1ck are desperate to get a stamp in this series and bring it back to a reverse sweep territory, because that's what it would be if K1ck come back here and actually secure the series for the Ultraliga and for Poland as well as themselves. It would be a reverse sweep. It would be a monumental effort versus the groundwork already laid by LDLC in this series so far. And like I said, I mean, I don't know what happened bot lane, Foxy. I really felt like TynX put a lot of pressure down there. I felt like he was trying to gank it over and over again. It feels like there was just a 2v2 difference for Puki this game. I genuinely feel like a lot of this lead he generated just through pure laning capability with Raxxo.
Yeah, legit. I agree with you. Like, I didn't get to touch on it too much in the lane phase, but like TynX tried to go bot lane, but what can you do? Like, you have such good early game setup, but Morgana just completely counters you, and he wasn't able to get anything going. And yeah, I think this lead from Puki style, I agree. I think it says a lot of this is just that 2v2, and that's you're seeing why Puki style is a huge carry for K1ck, and why his team relies on him and often drafts around him as well. You can definitely count on this guy to carry.
You can kind of see why, you know, a lot of people say, oh, red side draft, you want to get a counter pick mid, you want to get a counter pick top. Kind of see why the counter pick support has worked out so well for K1ck in this game. That Morgana has been the thorn in LDLC's side for a lot of these engages and a lot of these skirmishes, as well as the fact that I genuinely feel like Burning Flash of the TynX at like level 1 had such a huge impact in his ability to actually impact these lanes.
Yeah, that really was. Like, you've got that early game playmaker, and suddenly you're already putting him down. Then yeah, that's always going to end well for your team. And I think, you know, Raxxo's done a really good job so far. This Morgana pick, I think, is really solid too. It's paid huge dividends in the lane phase, but I don't even think it gets easier from this point on for LDLC either, because in these team fights, I think Aphelios is going to be even harder to touch, because you're going to have to go through a front line. You don't have particularly good dive to really get onto Puki style, and if you're trying to lock him down with CC, well, you know, there's the Morgana. So I do think like K1ck are in a really solid spot, and the fact that they've got 4 of their 5 kills on the Puki style is really fortunate for them.
And he's also an item ahead. I mean, we're at 20 minutes, Foxy. Let's reflect on some item spikes here, with the gold lead being about 2,500. It's not a huge amount, but that 2,500 feels like it's sitting on Puki style. I feel like it's him who has got the majority of the gold share.
It probably is.
You can see.
Yeah, it literally is. Wait, that's 3. That's more like, holy, that's loads. That's huge. 3k difference right there, just on Puki style. That is massive for 20 minutes for an AD carry.
He's having a great game, just when he needed to as well for the team. Just when he needed to step up and dig them out of the hole that those first 2 games had created. Even though K1ck, I really feel like, should have won that last one. It can be hard mentally to recover from something like that when you should have won, when it was your game to lose, and you end up losing it. You know, oh sorry, it was your game to win rather, and you end up losing it. You know, it feels hard, it feels bad. It's difficult to maybe come to terms with, but it's a great response from K1ck. You know, a response of potential champions as well, to come back in the game 3 when the cards are on the table and actually find the hand that you want to play.
Talking of champions, of course, LDLC did win that last game, despite all we say about K1ck. Should have, would have, could have, you know, all that stuff. At the end of the day, LDLC won, and again, that's also the hallmark of a good team. The fact that they were able to drag victory out of the jaws of defeat is something that, you know, if you're a good team, you got to do that every now and then. LDLC have already done that once in this game.
And just to be aware, guys, that disconnect, if you saw it on screen, that was not actually a disconnect that happened in game. We have a delay on our games for competitive integrity, so there was an in-game pause essentially, and we dealt with it, and we managed to just keep the game flowing naturally. So that disconnect didn't actually happen. He's still in the game, he's still there, ready to go. We just dealt with it in a pause, and we have that delay for competitive integrity on the stream. So LDLC are fine, no disconnects, guys. Don't worry about it. They're still ready to go. And I'm glad that you mentioned LDLC's you know, first 2 games and the way they brought that second game back, because again, you know, they're a team that has been touted as potential champions time and time again in the European Masters, but never quite realized that title or that expectation that they were given. This time round, they are 1 game away from realizing that. They're 1 game away from actually being champions, which would be, you know, a nice journey for them over the 2 years of European Masters.
That is good poke, because this Ocean Dragon is about to spawn, and this will be really huge.
Oh, Shlatan goes for the kick, but he doesn't convert it, and TynX is now on the backline to Puki style, who trades back nicely. The Moonlight Vigil not quite there. Bando does punish. Oh! Vétheo! He finds the angle. Grade A in trigonometry for him as he gets the kill onto the most important member of K1ck. Puki style goes down. Now Matislaw flashes out of certain death too. LDLC again save it when it matters most.
What is it about this series and these crazy fights happening around the 4th dragon? We're going to see Vétheo's going down as well. Did LDLC even get this dragon down?
I think Ibo dies here, though, unfortunately. He should. Nope, never mind. Doesn't go down. Bando's going to try and chase this up. Yeah, he will.
He's done.
Matislaw dives over the wall. He looks for it. He won't get it. And Bando, the most unlikely of carries for LDLC, comes away with a double.
This is absolutely insane. Both the games so far in this series, now the third one as well, have had crazy fights happening when a team is on sole point. Shlatan here wants to go for a little bit more, but he has to be careful. You're by yourself, buddy. Puki is on the way. Here he comes.
Oh, and TynX finds it as well. Here comes Puki. He's ready to work with Shlatan. Bando on the front line, though. They are just desperate to find the kill. Puki is huge, as you said. The ultimate comes through, and Bando has to dive away. Puki can't find the kill as YellOwStaR is forced to use the stopwatch to buy some time for his team. They are just trying to delay this soul as best they can. Hades will start it up with TynX. Can Puki defend this by himself?
Yeah, Ibo's coming in. He's got those home guards coming through as well. Puki doesn't want to give this up, but there's a smite advantage over to LDLC.
They will get it and they stop it. Ibo now there does not have flash available, and here comes Bando looking for it. The Drowsy's landed. The Drowsy's bloody landed, boys! And he finds the kill onto Puki once more. LDLC, they are nailing the hopes of the Polish region to the wall right now with just an insane comeback around the most important dragon of the game. And it's going to be Bando doing his best on that front line. He's unkillable, it feels like, for the rest of KiCK. TynX and Vétheo will back off. Bando's doing what he can to buy some time to allow Vétheo to trade back. Ibo feels very difficult to kill too. But that is a big win for LDLC.
And finally, we are going to see the end of the 100 Years' War. That was a never-ending battle right there, which ultimately comes out in LDLC's favor. It starts off with a pretty flashy play there by Shlatan. Doesn't really get too much, but either way, it looked quite fancy. But that's the most important kill right here. Like, you think KiCK has the advantage there when you still got Puki alive. He has so much damage, you can just fight front to back with him. You've still got the front line, you've still got the utility to protect him as well. But when he dies, it really just signals the beginning of the end for KiCK. This is where I thought that I just thought that was it. That was the end of the fight. Like, you know, you've won the fight as LDLC, it's done. You're just gonna move on and all that stuff. But no, we're gonna get even more.
It's just still going, mate. I mean, I think...
Are we even halfway through it?
Unbelievable. I mean, Bando, I've got to say, Bando on Cho'Gath, he's been good.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We've been the first to sometimes criticize Bando, but he's had a good 4-1-2, by the way. You know, he's actually stepped up when LDLC needed the carry outside of that bot lane the most. Bando has done it. You know, he's been the role, he's played the role his team needed. And Vétheo, although his scoreline might not reflect it, he's had some really, really crucial picks for LDLC.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I will say this, I don't think either team has got a major advantage right now. LDLC brought it back, but it is still not a one game for either side.
And Vétheo's been... He's always someone I'm looking at and LDLC that I always just want to see a little bit more of him. I think the Vétheo in EU Masters is not the Vétheo that we saw in the LFL. Didn't quite have the best semi-final. He averaged like a 13% damage share, which is very close to what YellOwStaR had over the 3 games as well. It really wasn't that good. But in this series right now, when it really matters, he is stepping up, especially in this game, getting so many good picks. Nothing could be more important than right now.
Bando just being that front line that his team needs. Here comes the ultimate from Maokai around the Baron. Again, Bando just taking the damage. He's the one that's pushing forward. It's a nice rupture to start things off, but no one else there for LDLC to capitalize as Bando gets taken very low. There's the ultimate coming out from Misfortune. The bullet time will not have the impact that it needs, and Puki finds the shutdown onto the LDLC top laner.
Puki really big on that Aphelios. Yes, he was struggling in the previous fight because he got taken down by the pick from LDLC. But when you're able to fight front to back, when you're able to use the front line that KiCK have, especially with that Maokai just being massive in himself, suddenly Puki is able to turn it on, and he looks really, really huge. And I do think, you know, for KiCK's comp especially, it's a lot easier for them to continue that kind of success, whereas for LDLC, it's kind of hard to keep replicating, getting those catches like you saw on that 4th lane.
It really feels like if Vétheo can't find an angle and they can't find the CC and the pick onto Puki I think they're going to struggle to match the consistent damage output that KiCK have.
Look at that bottom mid diff though. That's crazy. So there's a huge lead for Vétheo and an even huger lead. That's like, what the hell? That's like 4.5k gold from Puki over Hades. That's insane. That is huge. He is so big right now. That is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. The lead that Puki generated in this game, and you can really feel it in the team fights. His damage output is just becoming nigh on untenable. It's just unbelievable how much damage this Aphelios is putting out at 3 items right now, and especially compared to that bullet time, which essentially tickled the K1ck roster. It really didn't feel like it had the impact that kind of ultimate should, and I think Hades is really struggling this game to keep up with the damage that Puki is putting out. But, there are other members of LDLC able to make it happen as Matislaw gets knocked up by Bando. Again, another important Drake to contest, and this is what it's going to be like for LDLC until they get their own chance at the soul. The next 3 dragons, they're going to have to find an angle to contest. They're going to have to look to try and take it as Matislaw dives over onto Vétheo, trying to stop that back from occurring. It's a good back to stop as the damage comes down onto Raxxo. Bando on the front line again. He needs the follow-up though. YellOwStaR is there. Bando finds Shlatan immediately, and now Ivo on the back line doing what he can to lock Bando up. YellOwStaR takes to the front line. Hades takes to the front line, trying to support their top laner when it matters most. Puki caught out. Puki is going, but dies eventually to TynX. This is the fight that LDLC needed again, and they pull it out of the bag once more around the dragon. They somehow do it time and time again. It is a clean ace for LDLC and a double kill and a Baron now for the French team.
K1ck is still losing these team fights despite having that mega strong AD carry. It really goes to show just how much work LDLC are able to put out in that front line. Bando especially is basically unkillable in these fights. He is so incredibly tanky. I'm shocked honestly at seeing it, and because of the true damage that comes through with his ulti, he's still able to put out a lot of damage. He was able to pick up Shlatan right in the beginning of that fight. And that's when you lose that first member, I feel like LDLC were just kind of able to keep it going. And TynX, little bit question mark about him and his ability to really impact these fights as the game went on. But he made that crucial pick onto Puki, which enabled LDLC to pick them up, pick up the Baron, and maybe pick up the dragon. We'll see.
Oh, Bando, he's in a bit of an aggressive spot right now. Doesn't really feel like LDLC are there to support him this time round as he gets dragged back into the team from K1ck. He gets taken very low, very low. The bullet time is big, though. That's a huge angle found by Hades, and now he's trying to take on the rest of K1ck by himself. He already gets a kill onto Shlatan, flashes away. The man himself, he's been having a tough game, but he's had 2 huge team fights in a row, and LDLC look like they are in the commanding spot to take the second Drake of their game. They'll get another 2 kills. LDLC, how do they do this, Foxdrop?
Every single fight, they manage to turn it around and create something from it. K1ck, it seems like, I'm going into these fights, it seems like K1ck has it, they can do it. They've got the positioning, but every single time LDLC finds something. This time it was that Misfortune ultimate. Hades, who's had a pretty quiet game, now sitting there with that big gold bounty, getting up there in the items as well, and doing huge work on that Misfortune.
I mean, it is... Oh, that's a lot of damage coming down here. Maybe K1ck find their way back in. I mean, YellOwStaR was big, Oof. But Puki picks up the kill onto Hades right now. That's a nice win, but you can't get much if you're K1ck right now. There's nothing left on the map to punish LDLC for that over-aggressive push.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, if you can't punish LDLC when they make mistakes, then how do you get back into the game? Because that is the essence of getting back into the game. Everyone makes mistakes. Even the best players will be making mistakes, and it really just comes down to your ability to punish on that. Even if we look at last game, K1ck, sure, you can say that they threw that game, they made the mistake, but LDLC, they were still there to punish it. If LDLC is not in position to punish, then it's not really a mistake at the end of the day, right? And this is a team that's... Sorry, go on.
No, I would like to build on that, because I think what you raise is a really interesting point. I mean, it's not just K1ck throwing, it's LDLC finding angles in what we would consider unwinnable positions or unwinnable team fights or things that they just shouldn't contest. LDLC find the angles, and it comes down to the way they execute their team fights or the way they set up for them. I don't know. I mean, that's what I guess you have to analyze, but they find these opportunities. It's not just K1ck making mistakes, it's LDLC being good at finding their way back from positions that they look weak in.
And I just really want to put a big kind of spotlight on Bando. I mean, it's kind of hard to avoid him at this point. He's huge, but just the way that he's been playing this game is really impressive. And I think we have had some criticisms of him in the past, but this series especially, I honestly think Bando's played really, really well, and he is a big reason why his team's able to find success, why they are winning these team fights, and huge props to him on this Cho'Gath. I
think this is, if LDLC win this, which I think 10 minutes ago I would have told you it was not likely. Now, at 33 minutes into the game, I'm telling you it's looking pretty good. You know, this is the full redemption arc for our boy Bando. He's finally had an impact game, and you can't really paint it any way. Yes, he's playing Cho'Gath. All he's had to do was absorb damage, but he had a good laning phase. He didn't make any mistakes. It's been a good game for this man. He's itemized well. He's itemized for his team too, as he finds. And look how much damage. Look how much time he buys when they look for these towers. And that's another bullet time coming out. Ibo taking the brunt of the beating on the front line. I mean, just look at Bando. He's just untouchable. He's just lost about 10% HP as Ibo gets taken low by Hades. Will eventually pick up the kill, and now they're going for the push onto the inhibitor turret here, Foxtrot.
Yeah, no, Ibo's going down here. He must be getting some really awful flashbacks. He was part of that 2018 Illuminar squad that got swept in the finals in our very first EU Masters. He definitely does not want to be on the receiving end of that again. And K1ck, they still have some life left in them. Will they be able to claw this game back?
Not looking good. They've already lost that bot lane inhibitor. Shlatan dives in. He's looking for the kick onto Hades, who gets taken low, and Puki style converts. Vétheo trades one back. But I mean, just look at Bando. Look at him. You can't bloody touch him. He's just on the back line by himself. He's not going down, and the rest of LDLC are free to do as they please. They're going to take another inhibitor here, and they are so close to closing out this series.
Puki style is able to put some dents in the Cho'Gath, but the thing is, it takes so... What are you doing, bruh?
They're looking for him. I mean, they just pick up Puki style here. Now Matislaw is the target. He gets taken solo. Oh, he shuts down Vétheo. That might be crucial in keeping K1ck alive, as now Matislaw dives back and forth. Ibo is there to defend, but it is a 3 versus 1. They could look for the win here. They could try and go for the end on this series and take the championship away.
Yeah, and Bando has TP, so he's just going to recall. And okay, it looks like going to stop the siege right there. So K1ck do survive, live to fight another day. We're going to get a replay of this fight. This is Shlatan's best move in this entire game, and probably the entire series, to just instantly catch out Hades. Gets blowed up by the power of Matislaw there as well. But yeah, look at like what? Like, he's so tanky and just absolutely obliterated Raxxo. And you can see, like, Puki style does hurt Bando a fair amount, but the problem is it's only him that can, and he doesn't do it fast enough in order to, but before the rest of his team just goes down. You know, it's just not quite enough. And this one, I mean, just a bit too far forward. And he's trying to avoid the bubble, but that's just, yeah, just a little bit too much there, and gonna be the death of Puki style. And unfortunately, it looks like the dreams of K1ck as well.
Yeah, the dreams of K1ck, Poland, the Ultra Liga, they are now 7,000 gold in the bin as the third Ocean Drake is being started up here by the LDLC roster. I really feel like K1ck, they're desperate for this. They're desperate for it as a win condition, as the kick onto TynX back into the fight. That's going to be the immediate kill onto Ibo, who has been less than stellar this game so far. He has been very difficult for him to match up against this Cho'Gath in terms of damage output. Puki style trades one back onto YellOwStaR. Shlatan now so low. I mean, Hades goes down to Matislaw, but Shlatan is dead. That's the most important thing. The third Ocean Drake finished up by LDLC, and it's an even fight, but another denial of a huge win condition that K1ck can cling to.
And that's going to mean this next dragon that spawns is the soul straight up. Whoever gets it is going to take control of that ocean soul. And now suddenly, where K1ck had all the pressure, where they were 3-0 up on dragons, and they had dragon soul point, now the pressure's all on them to be able to not let LDLC take away the soul, because you're already struggling big time in this game. Do you really want to add another ocean soul? Probably not.
They're going to utilize a dead Shlatan to go for this Baron, and maybe that's enough to back off the teleport coming through. Bando's keeping it alive, though. Bando's keeping it alive on to Ibo, who is drowsy now on top of the Zoe, who's popped that Zhonya's Hourglass to kick things off. Now Ibo taken very low, and again, Bando looking for the opportunity to chunk him down. TynX now very low, will die to Puki style, and I think Bando will trade back here. They'll trade 1 for 1 at the end of the day, but that is a jungler going down around the Baron, and that is a very dangerous thing.
1 for 1 there, 4 players alive on each side. As you say, the jungler is down. Bando does have the ability to nom away the neutral objectives, which is more powerful than a smite, to be honest, but either way, that's not going to happen just yet. The problem is for K1ck, though, as you're seeing right here, beautifully observed by the observers, This bot lane is constantly pushing in because there are no super minions. There's no inhibitor, so they're just super minions here. And when your bot side's pushing in, it makes it really hard to defend things on the top side of the map, like the Baron. So k1ck's definitely going to be up against it for that.
Oh, I feel like critical mass is approaching for this game as well. That Baron on the cards, the Dragon Soul in the next 3 minutes, and I really feel like if k1ck lose one, that's game over for them. There is too many open lanes with too few objectives preventing the push coming out from LDLC. The Baron has been started now. It doesn't look like k1ck are in a position to respond to this, with TynX making his way over. Shlatan may be looking for the steal, but you have to go up against the secondary smite of Bando to make this work. Maybe Bando feels confident in his smiting abilities. They're trying to zone them away. They're trying to keep it a level, keep it at a point where TynX can actually join the fight. And Shlatan gets taken so low. Vétheo doing his best to force the jungler out. He's already pushed way out. He dies before he even gets there. And LDLC, they're in such a strong position. Oh my word. Disaster for k1ck, disaster for the Polish region. It is a complete whitewash of this fight, a clean ace, and quite surely the game and the championship for LDLC.
That's going to be the series. The French team, they don't have much more standing in their way. They're TPing into the base. Here come LDLC.
And it's been a long time coming, Foxdrop. Playing through 4 separate EU Masters competitions, the LFL squad have finally proven to the rest of Europe they are capable of greatness. And greatness they have achieved. The hype is real. LDLC are your European Masters.
Man, what a crazy, crazy series we had there as well. I have to say commiserations to k1ck. They had the Cinderella story coming in from the plains. But LDLC, being able to secure the first 2-time winner of a region. The LFL, the French teams, won it 1 year ago. They win it this time as well. First time we've seen that in EU Masters. And YellOwStaR, whose feathered cap must be looking like a peacock's, now adds another one to it with an EUM title.
Oh, unbelievable. It really was. And congratulations to the LFL. Commiserations to Poland and the Ultra Liga. They are still one of the strongest regions that we have, but all of the greatness deserves to rest on the shoulders of LDLC, who time and time again have struggled to live up to the expectations of their roster, struggled to make the European Masters theirs. Their 4th attempt with a roster built around some incredible talent like TynX, some veterancy like YellOwStaR. They finally make it work. They finally make it happen, and in such convincing fashion. These games were not one-sided. I don't want that to be the story that you take away. These games were close. It could have been a knife edge on at least 2 of them, but LDLC find the angles they need, and Foxy deserve the title of the European Masters.
Exactly as you say, this was not a close series despite the 3-0 scoreline, but LDLC always found ways to get back into the game when they were playing from behind, and that's a sign of a good team, you know. And when you're looking at the lineup from LDLC, when you're looking at even loads of players really from EU Masters, but especially when you're looking at the finals, we always see players graduate from EU Masters into LEC. LDLC itself as an organization has players like Dan, Skeens. They've got Cadril, Crownshot, Comp as well. All these players who are now LEC players used to play on LDLC at some point. It seems like they just keep on finding ways to have talent, and I will be shocked if you don't see some of these LDLC players in the LEC someday.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who knows? YellOwStaR making that huge return. And speaking of YellOwStaR, I have got Ender awaiting by with our European Masters champions, TynX and YellOwStaR. They're there for an interview. Ender, take it away.
Thank you very much, Scoundrel, and congratulations to LDLC and you both, YellOwStaR and TynX. Thanks so much for joining me after that pretty one-sided victory right there. You know, the games looked close, or the games were very close, but ended up being 3-0. How'd that feel for you guys?
You want to take it away, Yellow?
Yeah, you go first.
You're too gentle, like in game. Okay, well, I mean, the games were kind of close, even though it was a 3-0. So, like, we were kind of struggling in some way, even though it looked like kind of a stump on the scoreboard. So, I'm just really happy for it to be over. Really relieved. I think we all had like really shiny moments and all had like kind of some in play sometimes. So, it just feels really good to have it over.
Yeah, that's excellent. And for you, YellOwStaR,
Hey.
you took a break from playing for a little while, but you're back on the stage now, and to come away with the EU Masters victory, that has to be like quite the journey for you.
Yeah, I mean, coming to the match, like there was a lot of hype due to the like Puki and Polska Guru and stuff. So it was really exciting to actually play this match, and knowing our like progress, I think we were really excited and we were on a good curve. And it feels really great to see that we actually improved throughout the tournament. And I'm really happy that everyone played good. And yeah, I mean, it was a bit close, and I think they played really well too.
Yeah, and during all the sort of like the build up overnight with all the Puki style stuff going on online, I know the Polish scene was out in full force, but I also saw a lot of the French fans really rallying behind you guys. Anything you want to say to those guys that stuck with you through all of it?
I mean, it's really nice, like because I stopped for a while and I kind of like worked in the management for like 3 years because I felt like I needed a break, and now like having the support, so much support coming in, I guess we were like against the world. Like I saw everyone had the Puki style picture and it was so funny. So I'm really happy that we made it through, and yeah, it just feels great. I'm still stunned about the win, so I'm just really happy.
Like I saw even a lot of the French, like, chips, all the casters from the LFL, they're really trying to pull together and making a community. Even though the Poke meme was a bit too big, I saw some of the French people trying to counter with some YellOwStaR pictures. I do believe that the Polish fan base did not end up winning, but it's kind of nice that we have the LFL supporting us still.
How can you compete with the big biceps?
Yeah, there's no way to compete with this. Like, just the entire Polish community is just one big biceps at this point. Like,
well, I would say you guys did a pretty good job overall. And for you, TynX, in particular, coming into the series, there was a lot of hype built up around you and some really solid early game performances, especially in the series yesterday, where you're building up like these huge level leads coming through from the jungle. So how do you feel?
Yeah.
You're of course like the MVP over in the LFL, and now your performance over on EU Masters. How would you rate yourself?
I mean, I think it's such a weird question to have to rate rating yourself. I think I played good over the entire tournament. I mean, I'm really happy with my own performance. Yeah. I gotta say, I felt really comfortable playing the most games, but I just think it's so awkward to actually having to rate yourself against other players. I think most of the games I had kind of easy time doing draft and easy time doing like the game, just because I got the champions I wanted. I didn't really have a lot of pressure coming into the game. And even then, I kind of felt like we were the underdogs going into a lot of the games. So there was just not a lot of pressure from my side coming into anything. So, I mean, I just felt really comfortable, and that's about it.
Yeah, like I can help you. Is that TynX really knows like what he wants to do in the game, and we set up an early plan kind of, and then like every player kind of like try to adapt to what he's doing, and that's why like everything meshes together, and that's why it's working so well. And yeah, we were playing really good as a team.
Yeah, you guys absolutely were. And I would like to talk a bit more about the actual games themselves, especially that second game, because, of course, the early game maybe didn't go all according to plan for you guys, but you were able to pull it back in the end. So how did you sort of like find those angles, figure out how to sneak away the Baron in the heat of the moment, YellOwStaR?
Well, like we saw them, like they were trying to fight around mid, and then they started heading towards bot side, and we're like, wait, we have the position, we have the vision, and I still have my ultimate, so I can zone them, and then we just sneak through the ward, like through the scuttle with a portal, and then it was really nice for us, which made us come back into the game, and then we said, okay, if we deny the Elder Drake, then game is ours.
And then TynX, I think you stole the Elder Drake, so everything went according to plan.
I mean, we did start it, so it was more like a 50-50 that we ended up winning, so I wouldn't really call it a steal, though.
Yeah, well, I'd say you stole the win in the end, at the very least.
Stole the win, sure. We can give that much.
Yeah, we'll take that one. No, it was really
kind of an awkward game, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in these kind of games, it's just you really just want to play with your tempo and look at where you're strong, even though you're behind. Just try to find openings, and I think we just did well. Like we kind of created a chaotic map for them, so it was really hard for them to actually close the game, even though they're really far ahead.
Yeah, because there was stuff going on like Matislaw was taking your inhibitor in the top lane while you guys were fighting it inside of the jungle. So it never felt like we really knew who was going to win that game because it was constantly like one team would win a fight, then throw it the other direction. And I think like it's in those types of like really intense games where, the shot calling comes down and ends up being super, super important. So do you guys feel like you were able to keep like a cool head even throughout all that?
Oof, it was a tough game. Like there was a lot of adrenaline and excitement. So everything was just like I wouldn't say control, but everyone was trying to keep their head cool and still looking for ways to come back. And we managed to do pretty good at it.
I mean, we were still up 1-0 in a best of 5, so I don't think, even though like it's always going to be chaotic in a competitive game, we weren't like crazy chaotic. It wasn't anything that couldn't be controlled anyway. So I think in these kind of games, when you know there's coming in next game, you're just looking for kind of crazy stuff, trying to make stuff happen that maybe shouldn't allow you to win the game, and it just ended up working.
Yeah, and I say you guys did a pretty great job of it in that game 2, and especially in that game 3 as well to come away with the win. So YellOwStaR and TynX, before we head off, I would like just open the floor to you guys one last time to give any shout outs to players on your team, say some words to the fans, let them hear it.
I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I'm really thankful to like first my teammates, the organization. Like it's been an amazing journey. Like when I came in, I didn't expect to perform that well, but I had this goal in mind, and I was like, okay, we need to make this work. And I'm glad that everyone like stepped up, and it's really nice. Like I just have no words, but thank you, and to every fans that supported us, and it just showed today. Like we just became stronger. Thank you.
For me, I want to say everything that Yellow just said, but more specifically, Polska Guru, and then that's it. I'm done for that.
Excellent. I love it. Thank you so much, TynX and YellOwStaR, and congratulations one more time on becoming the champions of EU Masters. That was all from us here at EU Masters Spring 2020. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, and congratulations one more time to LDLC on their 3-0 victory. We'll be back with the LEC in just a month, but until then, have a great night.